It shows your tips for Pro Group Racing. Daggy and Beaver with you. Midweek preview time. Canterbury and Sale to look at on a wet morning in Sydney town. How was the weekend, first of all, Beaver?
Yeah, it was a pretty handy weekend for the boys, mate. I think between us, there was a number of winners there. Just having a look at the Randwick card, we both tipped Hosey Air as our value bet of the day, I think, and it accordingly.
It was a very easy watch too.
Cascadian was good. I did say I was concerned about that. I fell into Montefilia, but Cascadian was too good there. Williamsburg was very impressive. I think you gave that a good chance. Fireburn, well, not sure what I can do with Fireburn now. I just
don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it.
All that old 2-year-old form's shit.
Gone. Yep. Lost and running, very good in winning there. Top ranked, just got up on the line, so we tipped that. It was a good win, and even the Metropolitan was a good race, a good finish.
Yeah.
I was super impressed by the run of Realm of Flowers. It was 3 wide the whole way, and then was coming again back on the line, which I did tip as a good outsider. And then Remark very good in the last. So yeah, overall some nice tips there. And down in Melbourne, Vizinari thought it was very good. As expected, you got El Salida. I think I tipped Argentia there, so could have ran the Cronulla there. Giga Kick, toughed it out to win. Smoke and Romans was a good win, and now it's into favourite in the Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, missed that one.
Yes.
Something to be said for people worrying too much about relative weights and measures, I suppose. Because the price went around at, including us, we did. I actually didn't have that strong an opinion of the horse itself. So
not in this company, but it certainly kept improving. Last prep, it was winning, fairly mediocre sort of benchmark races, and but definitely stamped itself there. My horse Young Werther finished third, so keeps me interested.
I'm sure you'll tip it again next time.
Yeah, it keeps me interested. Private Eye was very good. We thought we were wondering why it was sent to that, and 1200 first up, and showed us why there.
When the money actually started coming for it, I had to have something on it just out of fear more than anything else. So worked out all right in the end. But a good day's racing, probably stuff we can follow out of a few races, and some stuff we can pen going forward. I don't know what it means the next couple of weeks. So I'll have to look at the Caulfield Cup form, which we will do in a fortnight's time. And I think we've got the Caulfield Guineas to look at this week. We see Berkeley Square and Golden Mile line up, so we'll talk about that in the coming days. And but overall, successful weekend. We'll take it and we'll move on, I guess. Do you want to give any words of encouragement to Elliot, who decided Ice Bath was again the way to go, including I will say never again. I think
my friend Elliot, I did forget. Thank you for reminding me, Adrian. But Elliot, thumbs up to you, mate. You put yourself out there, but the Beavers come up tricks again, mate. Did bin Ice Bath. You go broke breaking it, mate. Unfortunately, 4 from about 30. Sorry, it's just a horse that keeps threatening to do something and very rarely does. So, mate, when I see you next, a beer will be suffice there, mate, for the razzing. But back to you.
All righty. Well, let's look at Canterbury, where the rail's out 8. The rain's turned up a day earlier than I thought it would. So we're on a heavy track, which we could actually see. We see swoopers coming to play here this afternoon with whatever's left of this. There's only small fields anyway now. Might not be a long preview show, so let's get through and see.
Any chance of them not getting through the card here, mate?
I wouldn't think so. Canterbury, I don't know, but it's always on the table for one of these with a Group 1 meeting on the Saturday. Jockeys might want to knock off early and get home. We'll see how rain today. Yeah, if that was supposed to turn up about 9 o'clock tonight, I think it's coming a few hours early if it hasn't already. So we're a very good chance of this all being for naught. But let's see what comes up in the first, which is a 1580 maiden. Anything you want to start off with?
Yeah, look, interesting start off, but I'm going to stick with the favourite Ring of Hoya. I've backed it the last 2 starts and tipped it the last 2 starts. And it's an improving type. You want to be able to finish on. It's got the inside gate 1. which probably does go against it. It's probably a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but with the 3 scratchings, looks to get the right run here and hard to beat.
Yeah, on top for me, it's absolute all systems go here. J-Mac on inside gate, so it'll settle closer than has been, and quick backup, 7-day backup. So all of Waller, he's thrown it all against the wall here. I think he jumps from gate 1 after scratchings now. So I imagine J-Mac's going to have it right on the leader's back, and if it's going to win a race, this is it, I would say. The second is we've got 4 horses left in the benchmark 68 up next. How are you splitting up Cinderella Days and Cool Cap with what's left?
Yeah, it's interesting. They're all sort of 250 to 450 here. So really, really tight in the market race. I thought Cinderella Days was pretty unlucky last start. It got stuck on the fence and couldn't get out. I thought it was probably going to be right in the finish, if not win the race. And then it just had to pull back and try and come around, and then just lost momentum and wasn't going to be able to pick him up and sprint quick enough there. So I think this field probably suits it. I did have Cool Cap as my value bet last start, and it was scratched. I think it was a midweek race where we did a preview. So I've got Cinderella Days on top. I'm going to stick with it. I think it's got a little bit of ability, and I think this small field probably allows it to dictate terms here.
Yeah, nail on the head there. I think now the map sets up for it to have its own way in front, and should be hard to run down at Canterbury unless the inside has given out there. Yeah, a lot of my tips would have revolved around the horses to come out. So by default, I'm left with Cinderella Days on top there. The third is a benchmark 72, where the money's come for stalking today, which is interesting. Obviously, with the two favourites coming out, nearly 35 cents out of the dollar there. Stalk, always on shows being brave, actually. Always on shows being brave, both runs back. Was wide and posted there and ran quite well. Gets Dylan Gibbons now, I think will run well. Stalking was the horse I went looking for, but he's also a horse I've been waiting to actually do something for, 4 runs now. So I'd want to see the best from it. It did compete in some pretty good racing last time up in Queensland. Obviously runs well here with the other chances coming out, but 2 from 3 for me. Beaver, how have you seen this one?
Yeah, look, looks to be a race in 2 there. Again, a few of the longer ones in the market don't look to have much of a chance. Again, pattern and speed in race is going to be key here. Stalking will be stalking them. So it'll need a little bit of space. If they jiggy jog up front, that may not play into its hands and may make it a little bit tricky for it. But I've got it on top. I just think it's probably got a little bit more ability than most of these.
Beauty. Race 4, 12.50, benchmark 78. Just a couple that come out here. I was giving a chance at a price here too. You called it. I thought this was first up, second prep in Oz. Some nice trials to lead into this, and should get through the ground. Would have got through the soft okay. The heavy's now actually a concern, but they've left it in. So we'll see what happens there. But at the double figures it was when I did the form, I had it on top. From, I think actually Julian Rock comes back here to run well, and Samut was luckless first up, but tricky race. And I'm not sure, just after looking through the rest of the scratchings. Yeah, you called on top from Samut and Julian Rock, all at a bit of a price. Yeah, what have I really said here, Beaver? What do you think?
Yeah, it's
I'm playing away
race.
from favourites is probably the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty open market. There's 7 horses, pretty much $10 or better here, $10 or less. And it's a pretty open race. This race probably could be run a few times and get a different result. I've gone for the top weight Sessions Road up from Melbourne. Thought you could handle the conditions. I thought it was pretty good last start at Moonee Valley, and I really liked the run prior to that, where it was longer in the market, but ran about 4 lengths behind the Garden in a truck where it was hard to make ground. Gets the 3 kilo claim here, drawn gate 8, which I think is good for it. So I think he can run well at the $7 mark. And I thought you're right, Samut was pretty luckless first up, so I think he can run well as well.
Race 5 is a 1580-78. Again, key chances coming out. They left me with Colour Sergeant on top. Trials were okay here. Quiet trials coming here. Gets through the conditions fine. I just think the form around Born a King and Tinny Winnie might be slightly stronger than this. And I was probably a little bit disappointed in Pretty Amazing's first up run. So obviously small field and a bit more intent here. We'll see it improve, but I think Colour Sergeant's a nice play. Would have been all over Silent Impact should it have been here. So no good tipping scratchings, is it?
No, mate. Well, you won't lose. That's the good thing about it.
Yeah, it's a nice change.
So yeah, so you won't collect, but you won't not collect either. So yeah, it's pretty. I came down to 2 Pretty Amazing and Colour Sergeant. There was only 3 in the market here, and they looked to be the main 3 players. I was willing to forgive Pretty Amazing's last start. I think it probably gets through the going okay here. Only had the 1 start on the heavy for a win. And 3 from 3 from this distance, 1 from 1 track and distance. So everything pointing here with McDonald aboard. I think it can be pretty hard to beat here. Actually, the Colour Sergeant does handle this type of going, and first up can run well.
The staying contest, benchmark 72, 1900, where, look, the only problem with me putting Akahita on top, which I have, is that it does need to win a race, obviously. 3 seconds in a row, but has run well, everyone, and was good and gapped back to 3rd last time. Conditions are fine, and is now up and going, has had to run over the distance. I was leaning that way. The heavier it gets, the more nervous I get with that. Just because I thought they might be slightly stronger than the Carbonetti form, although Holster is absolutely flying and would probably start even money in this race. So yeah, the 2, I will have something on perhaps both of them here. What have you made of it?
I actually went around both of those and went for the other 2.
Okay.
I narrowed it down to Little Mix and Ting Tong. Thought they were working into this preparation nicely. Little Mix is 3rd up here, Ting Tong 2nd up. For that reason, I went for Little Mix. Thought it was a nice run last start over the 1550 at Canterbury behind Roots, only a couple of lengths behind it. I thought that was good, and actually finished off quite nicely first up at Eagle Farm. 2 goes on the heavy were a win and a placing, and 4 on the soft, 2 wins and 2 placings. Likes the sting out of the ground. This sets up really nicely for it here, and similarly Ting Tong was good first up, kept plugging to the line behind Communist, who has some ability. And handles the sting out of the ground. So I went for horses that look to have better form in this type of going. So that was the way I played that.
Yeah, fair call. The 7th is a benchmark 72 over the 1200 meters. I thought Mirrorview was a forgotten horse here. Last night it was double figures. It honest little trier will all the form around. It does have a win over Bella Rouge. To its credit, she went down and did some good stuff in Melbourne. Reagan Bayless going quite well, and I thought will run well here. It's been left in, 2 wins on the heavy. I think this is a nice bet around the $5 mark. Hoover Lucy you want to see improve, but does have some talent, gets J-Mac. But I was pretty keen. Mirrorview will run well.
Yeah, no, I've stuck with Hoover Lucy here. This is the weakest field it's faced in a fair while. Mirrorview can run well. It's resuming here, but Hoover Lucy, back last preparation, couple of lengths behind Fangirl in a listed race, and then took up the pace in a Randwick race before coming back from that spell. First up was pretty plain on a heavy going, but again, wasn't all that far behind them in a fairly decent race. I think it can be a bit more forward here. J-Mac aboard can run really well.
And we wrap up 1100 meter benchmark 72. How are we finishing the day?
Yeah, look, this is a pretty hard race. Kind of just kept looking around for something to tip here because there wasn't a lot to like about the field at all. I kind of landed on IPO. Thought it could run well. Has had a number of starts on soft going, 4 starts, 3 wins. So I thought just those conditions might suit. It was on speed last start and just weakened a little bit. Sort of comes back to the 1100 here from the 1300, which I think that'll suit. From the 1 gate, can jump on pace and may be hard to run down.
I'm left with Cruel Summer on top, who actually wouldn't have been in my tips on a half decent track, but absolute wet track. Perry back in distance to 1100 metres, freshen up. And a little claim for Reece Jones has left me disappointed in the price, but I think it's going to run well here now. And Vianello is another one of the Godolphin horses that I always think has ability, but probably needs to put a few together. Yeah, left with me on top. Yeah, again, not going to touch on the scratchings I'm actually going to make it my best today. Full summer, race 8, number 1 against my better judgment, but I don't have a lot else to tip throughout the card. And my value is going to be race 7, number 8, Mirror View. Beaver, your best in value?
Yeah, my best comes up in race 2, number 4, Cinderella Days. I think it gets its chance again to bounce back after last start when I had no luck. And my value bet's race 4, number 1, Sessions Road.
Beautiful. We head down for a look through the sale card from Melbourne on a soft track, rail in the 5. Sale's usually a pretty good track. Don't have too many issues betting there. We kick off with we're into this sort of phase where the Wednesdays aren't as interesting because we get Moonee Valley Fridays now. But we kick off with a benchmark 64, in fact, over the 1200. Where I was going to start the day with Entremont. I think both its runs to date have been quite good. I think I was very impressed last time. I'm surprised it's not stronger in the market. I think Latvian's been disappointing, a couple of runs fresh. And this is a nice way to start off. Think I'm Divine was the eye catcher there, but around the price, I'm pretty keen this is going to run well.
Same. I come up with Entremont as well. Thought it was pretty good about the $6 mark. There's an open field. There's the 5 horses that are sort of sitting between the $3 and $6 mark, and at $6, I think it's a nice bet. I thought it was a good win last start. Jumped on pace, showed pace, won easy, can run well.
Beauty. Race 2. These next few are all a bit trickier. A maiden plate 1180. There's plenty of first starters. Anything catch your eye?
Oh, look, it was pretty hard. I really went for thought the 2 first starters had it between them, Count Nicholas and Hurricane Thunder. The others that have started need to improve, and you don't have to be a flying machine to win these. Had those 2 sort of splitting it on top, just slightly leaning towards Count Nicholas.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add there. Yeah, I agree. Plenty of jump outs to get fit for this. Of the race for grade, Over Shady will win one of these races. It'd just be whether one of these 2 unraced ones have a bit more, which I've got a bit of a feeling they may. But Over Shady's honest and has been good just about every run to date here. But Count Nicholas on top from it. The third, my notes just read no idea, so I'm going to move on and let you be more influential here.
Yeah, I went for the favourite Boo Boo Boogie, just because I like the name.
Okay.
No, I thought.
Cool. What have we become now?
Thought the first run was a pretty nice debut. Actually, was a fair price in the market, but ran on quite nicely behind Queen of the Green at Geelong over the 1225 up to the 1400. Now that'll suit bit of extra fitness, race experience. And its form just looks better than certainly the Tetride here, so get on top.
Gee, the 1736 maiden comes up next, race 4. I thought Macarena was really good on debut. It was a bog, but flew through there and hit the line beautifully. Up in distance looks a nice natural progression and will run well. An interesting runner here's the 6-year-old debutant, Meanlass. I thought both its jump outs were quite stylish. Flashy type of horse. It doesn't have to be good to win a 700 metre maiden, but thought was the main horse of interest inside gate. Hopefully it should be able to pause the upset outside lead in both those trials and might give you a side if you're looking for something there. But 11 from 2 for me, Beaver.
Yeah, they're the 2 I had as well. And in that order, I had Macarena on top. It'll be very much improved from that first up experience. So I thought it could run really well here. I thought the price was quite good. And Meanlass as well, certainly a watch on it. Kunani has a way with these first up runners over these types of distances. Great trainer of horses in this sort of middle distance area. So I expect it to be able to run well. Not quite sure why it's taken 6 years to get it to the track, but that's certainly
out of an unraced mare. They might have just found it in a paddock, trying to saddle on or something. But tried okay.
So watch it closely and watch any market moves.
The benchmark 64 over the same distance comes up next. What have you done?
Yeah, got the favourite on top here, not a bad buy. This just looks right up its alley. It'll jump on the bunny here, and from the one gate gets all the favours. I expect it just to be way too good for these.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I really say is I've given Nami a chance to improve. It's been a bit luckless its last couple of runs, and might be over the odds, but favourite very hard to beat. Should have them covered in a race like this down in Melbourne. Race 6, 20 out to the 2200 is up next. Benchmark 64. Don't bet in these races, everyone, unless you've got something you want to suggest, Beaver.
Not really, mate. Was not keen on this one at all. If I had to have a bet, I'd back the 2 Darwilly, but yeah, it's not a race that I'll be going looking for.
Yeah, race 7, benchmark 70, highest rated race on the card and the best race on the card. I think this is a good one. Do you have any thoughts on it?
It is a good race, actually. There's a fair few horses coming off some very nice runs, and look, there looks to be a couple resuming here, and then a couple that are coming off nice runs. As I mentioned, Queen of the Green comes back for its second start, $7. I did narrow it down to 2. I did go for Invincible Caviar. I just think the Nolan Moody combination for these types of horses in these types of races is hard to go past. This horse has race experience at Sale, where it's won its last start before it went out, was 2s on. So they certainly had some opinion of it. And its first race start was a couple of lengths behind Argentia. Hard to go past form like that in a race like this. So I expected it to be forward enough and ready to run a really nice race. But certainly I'd be saving on Extreme Step. Finished off rather nicely last start in a decent race at Pakenham. Keeps improving, but Invincible Caviar on top for me.
I've got Eventually on top from the McAvoy yard. It's finished off chasing Chartreuse in the VRC Guineas last time in. Trials have been okay for this. Gets Blake Shin. I think all that form might be wanting further, but all that form stacks up pretty well here. And at the each way price, well, how many have we got here? 8. Yeah, it's almost each way price. Worth looking at. Queen of the Green. That was a nice win, actually. I did like that win, but you can, over the 2 I'll play around, you can make a case for every runner here, to be honest with you. So a tricky race. I think the form will stack up going forward, and we can follow it through some of this midweek stuff and Friday night stuff. But look, Invincible Caviar is starting under the odds because of connections and name, and is 400 days off. So I just want to see it jump out. Did look a nice move, though. Of all the Black Caviar progeny we've seen, did look to move the nicest compared to a couple of others that have come and gone quite quickly. Anyway, 1419 benchmark 70 wraps us up. Who have I got here? Oh, Hesket on top. Yeah, both runs back have been good. Drawn with Damian Lane, who should have a good day, actually, to get a nice run. I think that was a decent race it came out of last time for benchmark 70, and will run well again. And at the current price, maybe something small, water into wine, just fresh for the McAvoy yard again. Obviously looking for much further, but might get into a place at a big price here. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I come down to 2, but I went for number 4 Carlisle on top at the double figure odds. Thought its first up run was a nice one at Flemington. Sort of held ground behind Cardinal Gem, carrying 60 kilos there, so holds that same weight over the 1400. I think that will give it a good boost for a race like this. So stays at the 1400, but had some good form in previous preparations. Winning a nice race at Sandown when it jumped and led. So look, it'll be working into this preparation. I think it can run really well here on top from Beretta. who I think can run really nice race fresh, has first up form previously. So they were the sort of two that I was playing around there.
Beauty. Have you got a best in value for Pro Group Racing?
Yeah, my best is clearly on top is race 5, number 5, Not a Bad Buy. I think it will win best on the day. And my value comes up in the last race 8, number 4, Carlisle.
Beautiful. I going to make race 8, number 14, Hesket my best. I struggle to really have a best. My value is race 1, number 8, Etremet, who would probably be next best, to be honest. I'm pretty keen it's going to run well here. So tricky day at Sale. We'll see how we play. Hopefully the weather holds out at Canterbury too, and we get some racing there. Any up in Queensland?
Yeah, a few up in Queensland for us at Ippy today on a soft track. Race 2, number 6, Joy to All, resuming here. Can run well first up. Race 4, number 2, Rafiro, second favourite there, can run a really nice race. Race 6, number 11, Royal Nicky, short but will be winning. And then in the last, I see it's been backed overnight, in from $5 into about $4 is race 8, number 11, Zavaga.
Lovely. Some good little racing there at Ipswich this afternoon. Good stuff, Beaver. Good luck this afternoon. We're back tomorrow night, potentially, if not Friday morning, to talk about Caulfield Guineas Day and some good racing in Sydney. Subscribe to progretracing.com.au to keep track of all our tips and plenty going on there. And we'll be back very soon. Good luck, punters.